How would you like to have incredibly deep trust with your child so that you can lay the foundations now, and when they get older, that trust becomes something they rely on when making really big life decisions? Well, let me share with you how we lose this trust. Here's some very common parenting cliches or sentences that I can guarantee you probably say. I used to also, and we all grew up with our heads bombarded with these sentences. Things like, be careful, you'll fall. Make sure you put a jumper on, otherwise you'll catch a cold. Slow down, otherwise you'll slip over. And here's what happens. Here's where we need to be really careful about the warnings that we give our children. You see, when we give our children warnings, there are only two outcomes that can happen, and both of them are bad. Number one, you're right, and they do fall, and they do hurt themselves, or they do spill something, or they do slip over. Or secondly, they don't. That doesn't happen. And this is where it causes really a foundation of mistrust long term. Because if you're telling your children, slow down, you'll fall, and put a jumper on or you'll catch a cold, and that doesn't happen, they start building subconsciously, they start building a belief system that we don't know what we're talking about, that anything we say doesn't happen anyway. I didn't wear a jumper and I didn't get a cold. I didn't get down from the tree, but I didn't fall. I did carry that glass plate and I didn't spill anything, or I didn't break it. I did run, but I didn't fall over. And so what happens is, simultaneously, they are building a belief system that we aren't right and that they don't need to listen to us. And here's where that comes into play big time when they are older and we know they need our guidance. Later on, what happens is we say, don't have sex, you'll get pregnant. If you're gonna have sex, make sure you use some kind of protection so that you don't get some kind of disease. Don't drive fast, otherwise you could crash. Don't take drugs, you could end up with brain damage. Don't drink alcohol, you could end up in liver failure. All these things. But what happens is, by then, they've already got a belief system that says, oh, everything else you said to me throughout my life didn't happen, so why would this? Why do I need to listen to you now? Everything else you've said never happened. And so they've already got a belief system. We've lost our credibility with them. They've already got a belief system that they don't need to trust us because anything we say doesn't happen anyway. So instead of giving your child warnings about what could happen, here's what you can do instead. Ask them to consider. Have you considered where you're going to put your foot before you grab the next branch? Have you thought about things that could take place if you're not taking care? Have you considered slowing down just to eliminate some of the risks? Or sit there as a parent, don't say anything at all, and yes, that can be uncomfortable, and that's where we as parents need to grow in ourselves and not place our limiting beliefs that come from our life experiences on the child, who in this moment, they've got full belief in themselves to climb the tree or to carry the glass bowl. They took it because they believed they could, and we come in with our limits and we crush them. And what happens is, over time, our words of doubt become their inner voice. They start doubting their own abilities because the only thing they've heard from us is that they can't do something, or they need to be careful when they do something, which is the same thing. It's a suggestion that you probably won't be able to do it, so you need to be a whole lot more careful. Again, all of these things break down the trust that we have with our children. So I'm going to encourage you just to ask questions instead. Have you considered? Or you say to your child, let's say they're carrying something that is that they could break. You say, I love how you're carrying that so carefully. I can see you're being very careful with that. So we tell them that they are already doing what we want them to do. I can see you're really being careful about what branch you're grabbing onto before you take your next step. So we tell them that they're doing what we want them to do, so that what we're saying subconsciously is, you are capable, you can do this. I can see you evaluating your own risk, and you have the ability to do it. If you have enjoyed this video and you would like more information on how you can little by little build your trust, your child's self-esteem, their sense of self, their self-belief, please comment down below. Tell me, what was it you got from this video and what would you like to hear more about?